Welcome back to News Night. I'm Aviwem Dila. The Association of Private Security Owners has reported the Private Sector Security Provident Fund to the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. Now, TAPSOSA says the respondent has failed to safeguard the retirement and funeral benefits of many in the sector. Sindisiwe Chengdion speaks for TAPSOSA. She joins me now with more on the grievances. Many thanks for joining us at NCEA, Siswam. But let's start with the report itself. There are allegations of corruption and fraud. Maybe better paint out exactly what's happening.
I think I've been here for quite some time as the Association of Private Security Owners of South Africa, and thank you for having us, by the way. We have been condemning for years the culture of impunity, financial mismanagement, and regulatory neglect that has rooted the private security sector Provident Fund for quite some time. And we need to be able to also perhaps maybe have a clear correlation in terms of the issues that has transpired lately. And there was a march that actually took place last Friday where some members of the organized labor that represents 20% of the total workforce embarked on a march calling for private security sector employers that are providing procurement services to government for their contracts to actually to be cancelled. And they approached the National Treasury, and it was against the backdrop of this dossier or the revelation that actually came forth, in which it links several union leaders and some employers in serious allegations of corruption, of criminality, and governance failures that have crippled the private security sector Provident Fund, which is worth 13 to 14 billion. And it has also crippled the unclaimed benefits of that private security sector. And also the same rot is actually finding itself into the sector's bargaining council, in which is an institution which these unions are now aggressively pushing all employers to actually belong to. So in the past month, when we learned of these revelations, we had called a meeting with 11 unions that are organizing outside the formation of the bargaining council to confront these revelations and also be able to also look at the issue of non-compliance in the private security industry. So given the march that actually took place, for us it did not come as a surprise, because we knew that it appeared to be a calculated move by some certain union leaders that are implicated in that particular shenanigans that are happening within the private security sector Provident Fund to divert attention away from their alleged involvement in looting institutions to protect, instead of them protecting workers' interests and taking accountability into the systematic failures of this particular fund.
And you know who these union leaders are. You're reporting them to the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. Why not to the police so that we can see people in orange overalls?
One of the things that we have decided to do when we met with these particular unions was to also indicate that we need to escalate the matters beyond the FCSA, because we have written to the FCSA. We met with the commissioner of the FCSA and his team some years ago to actually expedite this particular process of them being able to actually look into this fund. This fund was put under administration some years ago, and some of the trustees within the fund were found to be delinquent. It is now the same, some of those trustees have found their way back to this particular fund, but have masqueraded their dealings in way that there are corruption activities in terms of colluding with service providers. There are family members that are actually working in that fund, and there's a lot that has been happening because it's millions of rands that have been looted. And in that particular process, we decided with those particular unions, when we're having a discussion, that we need to be able to open a criminal investigations on all these individuals that are found to have been pinpointed and looting this fund for quite some time. And we have also requested that there be a comprehensive investigation that is actually launched into look and zooming into these shenanigans that have been happening. And also there has to be some oversight as well that is being put in place so that there is lawful and accountable governance of structures that are reinstated in that fund. Aware that fund has been looted for years. Aware that fund, nothing has been happening, there's no accountability. Instead, what they are now doing, the very same unions that you are alluding to now, and some of the employers, they are planning to move that particular fund, the administration of that fund, to the bargaining council. And the bargaining council itself does not have jurisdiction, neither does it have the license requisite for them to be able to administer 13 or 14 billion rands of workers' money. This is just another ploy to loot. This is another ploy for them to be able to also divert attention away from the PSSPF and now starting to loot in the bargaining council.
All right, so you're still going to report this to the official authorities, the police, in essence. But I want to bring you in maybe on the tragedy that has unfolded in the Eastern Cape at the Kwila hospital, where one security guard lost her life while another was shot. Surely the safety of security guards then comes to the fore. Is there a way maybe to better protect them? Are they well equipped for people that come there with guns at these facilities perhaps?
The loss of lives of our security officers, even one life is too many, Aviv. This incident is not an isolated incident. These incidences have been happening, and we have been coming out as TAPSOSA condemning the criminality, and we have been saying that we need to be able to work closer with consumers of private security services so that we are able to come up with a collaborative strategy on how we can be able to mitigate the risk and be able to save lives of those security workers. Because those security officers as well, some of them are fully equipped and are fully trained, but the modus operandi of criminality and these criminals, it seems to be changing over and over again. They've got a way of being able to operate as syndicates in terms of being able to infiltrate these particular institutions and catch security officers off guard. And we've always had to say that there has to be some monitoring system that is taking place in terms of these particular institutions. But what we were urging these institutions also to do is being able to invest in terms of being able to ensure that the security is adequately put in terms of those particular facilities. One of the things that is actually happening is that security services, especially when it comes to from a consumer point of view, it has become a grudge purchase. Instead of them being able to prioritize these particular facilities, you would find that the deployment of manpower at times is not sufficient to be able to actually cater for that particular facility. And in that regard, those people that are responsible for procuring those services will tell you that it's because of budget constraints. So we had indicated that instead of you being able to you need to be able to sit together and be able to look as well on the issue of pricing of private security services, because the issue of pricing of security services is important. You cannot be able to now put pricing of security services as a guideline. It needs to be regulated, because what normally tends to happen is that some of the employers that are actually employed to render those particular services, because of the undercutting, you tend to not to be able to deploy enough security officers on the ground, and therefore that leads to such incidences. We have also indicated as well that we need to be able to deal with the rock elements that are actually infiltrating this particular security
need to deal with the rocks that infiltrate. Siniswa, just running out of time. Yes. Many thanks for your time and your insights. Of course, very concerning what happened in Mthatha. Siniswa Changyon is a spokesperson for the Association of Private Security Owners. To this concerning story as well, the community leaders and authorities in Reger Park say poverty, joblessness and dire socio